What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I've been thinking about other things to do with my channel. So what I've been looking at lately is like marquee matchups between historical players, and I'm looking for matchups where there was a distinct advantage for one player over the other. And I have never seen this one just floored me. I have never seen a statistical advantage for one player over the other, like I have with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar over Dave Cowens. And it's interesting to me because I remember an interview that Bill Walton did several years ago where he said that Dave Cowens used to destroy both Wilt and Kareem. But when I'm looking at these stats, they seem to show the contrary. Now, I'm not trying to say that Dave Cowens hasn't had some big games against Kareem, because I saw a couple of big games even in this stretch I'm getting ready to name in a little while. But for the most part, Kareem destroyed Dave Cowens. All right. Now, Dave Cowens, his rookie year was the 70-71 season. All right. And he was named, if I'm not mistaken, the NBA Rookie of the Year. He had a breakout rookie year. In 1972-73, Dave Cowens was the league MVP. Uh, their coach at the time, Tom Heisen, was the coach of the year. And that particular Celtic team set the franchise record for most wins. They won 68 games that year. All right. Contrary to public opinion or popular opinion that the 86 Celtics have the franchise record. No, it was the 72-73 Celtics. They won 68 games. So these are some great teams. All right. These are the teams that were led by Dave Cowens and John Havlicek. They were the top guys on that team, and you have to throw in JoJo White as well. Okay, so this Boston Celtic team was great. This was Dave Cowens at his best, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar thoroughly destroyed him. Okay, they played against each other 36 times. Kareem with the Bucks and later on with the Lakers. Dave Cowens for the most part with the Boston Celtics, but he ended up his career with the Milwaukee Bucks. Irony, right? Now, rebounds and assists weren't counted in all of these games, but in the head-to-head matchup, Kareem led 20-16. All right, 20 victories, 16 defeats against Dave Cowens as far as his team is concerned. Remember, this is a team game, so I don't want to make it sound like it's one-on-one or some shit, but still. When it comes to points, Kareem has the historical advantage over Dave Cowens, 31.1 points to Dave Cowens, 21.1 points. Now, these first 10 games, which encompass the first 2 years that they played against each other, I'm just floored at these numbers, man. Like, now Dave Cowens had a couple of great games, man. He had one game against the Milwaukee Bucks. It came in a loss where Dave Cowens had 36 points, 19 rebounds, and 4 assists. And he had another game that came in a victory for the Boston Celtics. We had 37 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists. Okay, so don't get me wrong. He had some big games, but the first 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 4 times that Kareem played against Dave Cowens, he scored at least 40 points, including one game we had 53. All right. And in the first 10 times that he played against Dave Cowens, the first 10 times, Kareem scored at least 40 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fucking times. 8 out of the first 10 games that Kareem played Dave Cowens, he scored 40 points, including 3 50-point games. the 53-point game I mentioned, the career-high 55-point game, and then a 51-point game later on that same season. And in one game, Kareem had 26 points and 30 rebounds against Dave Cowens, which might be his career high. And remember, Kareem was never noted as a prolific rebounder, at least in his Lakers days. Earlier on, I'm assuming Kareem got a lot of rebounds because he kind of had to, because he didn't really have anybody with the Milwaukee Bucks that could back him up on the boards. So he had to kind of focus more on rebounding when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks the first time. And plus, he was younger, probably able to maneuver a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? When he was young, he was 225 pounds. When he got older, he kind of bulked up a little bit. And also, I think Kareem just kind of like had more of a disdain for banging, you know what I'm saying, around. And when you play against the likes of Moses Malone and Artis Gilmore, Nate Thurman, and Wilt, it kind of wears you down, and you kind of don't want to fucking, you know what I'm saying, bang around the post as much, I guess. But still, this is fucking complete total dominance, man. Even though Bill Walton said otherwise. So in the first 10 games of their respective matchup careers against each other, Dave Cowens averaged 21.4 points, 14.4 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, while Kareem averaged a devastating 43.1 points, 17.7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. And later on, as the Milwaukee Bucks, you know, got more pieces and Kareem wasn't scoring quite as much, but still, he dominated him for the rest of the matchup as well. You know, like I said, Dave Cowens was known for his defensive prowess. He was an all-around player. You know, he's one of the few players that in history that has led his team in points, rebound, assists, blocks, and I believe steals. So he's an all-around player. He was a great defensive player. If they had the defensive player of the award, if they had the defensive player of the year award back then, I'm pretty sure Dave Cowens would have won it a couple of years. So this is a guy that was a great defensive player. Arguably, I'm thinking about it, you can make a case that for a couple of years he was the best defensive player of the year, defensive player in the post. Maybe, I'm thinking. Bill Russell had retired. Nate Thurman was getting older. Maybe you can argue Wes Unseld, I guess. But, yeah, Dave Cowens was a beast, but he couldn't contain Kareem, man. So this pretty much just adds to a lot of people's argument about how dominant Kareem was, especially the Milwaukee Bucks version of Kareem, man. Like, dude was a beast, man. Like, Wilt Chamberlain kept it 100 one time. Wilt Chamberlain said that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the first player in his career that he really needed help to guard. Like, before Kareem, he could contain players. Like, it was always that famous story about Walt Bellamy. You know, Walt Bellamy was the Rookie of the Year during the 1961-62 season for, and don't laugh at the name of this team, the Chicago Packers. That year, Walt Bellamy averaged, I think, like 31 points, I think it was, and 19 rebounds, right? And he seemed like he was going to be the next Wilt Chamberlain. You know, even though his career didn't materialize to what people thought it would be, but he still had a Hall of Fame caliber career. But Walt Bellamy was phenomenal his rookie year. And when he played against Wilt Chamberlain introduced himself to him, and Wilt Chamberlain said, "Hi, how you doing? My name, you know, introduced himself to, said his name, and he said, "Walt," he said, "you're not going to score in the first half of this game." And sure enough, Wilt Chamberlain blocked every shot that Walt Bellamy attempted in the post in the first half. All right, didn't score. Then in the second half of the game, Wilt said, "Okay, now you can score." So he laid off, defensively. Walt got his points. I don't know what it was, maybe 15 or whatever. And that's what Wilt could do to most guys. You know what I'm saying? Kareem was a different beast. You could argue Wilt was older. That's true. Wilt did have some moments against Kareem, but Wilt, man, I'm telling you, as I get older, I really don't get mad at people who feel like Kareem is not only the greatest overall basketball player, but the greatest NBA player of all time. I can see the argument. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like some people who are incapable of listening to a reasonable argument for somebody. Now, if you're saying some stupid shit like, "Hey, yo, man, look, man, niggas ain't peeping this shit out on the real," you know what I'm saying? But look, man, I think Walt Williams is the greatest shooter ever to fucking play the game, man. I'm gonna be like, "Look, man, I like the Wizards like anybody else, man, but don't say no stupid shit like that ever again, man. All right? If it's a reasonable argument, then yeah, you should be able to present your argument. Like I said before, when I'm gonna try to do myself, and I notice people are doing it still, what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to stop like bringing other people down to bolster the dude that I'm trying to prop up. Because if I have to do that, then what is that saying about my guy's resume? Like, my guy's resume should be enough. Now, if you insist on keep bringing down my dude's resume, then I might have to bring out the ether, and then like, okay, if you want to play this game, then we can play this game. But I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to present my resume, and you present your guy's resume, and let everybody else make their decision. But if you feel like you got to keep insisting on shitting on my dude, then okay, we have to play that game. But pretty much I just did this video to say, man, look, man, Kareem was bad, man. And Kareem needs to be more in that discussion when it comes to GOAT. I'm saying this media fabricated thing between LeBron and Jordan. It's funny because 10 years ago, and some people too young to remember this, it was Kobe versus Jordan, right? The GOAT argument was Kobe versus Jordan. As a matter of fact, 10 years before that, 10 years before that, I would say 2001, 2002, right? There was some rumblings of who's going to go down as the GOAT, Shaq versus Jordan. Because you got to remember, Shaq had won a three-peat with Kobe. Shaq was seen as a dominant guy back then. Shaq was, at the time, averaging a record 36 points per game in the finals. All right, that average went down in that fourth finals he had with the Heat. But yeah, he was averaging a record amount of points in the finals. Shaq was this dominant force, arguably the most dominant ever, or at least the most dominant since Wilt. Even Jordan was this dominant statistically, and Shaq, is this supreme force, and he already has 3 championships at age 30 or 31. Can Shaq and Kobe win more rings? Can Shaq be seen as the GOAT one day? I remember all that shit, man. But Kareem needs to be more in the discussion, in my opinion, man. But tell me what you guys think.